Namaste. Aloha. Welcome to today. We are going to read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So please accept my respects, everyone. My name is Janapati Das, and if you've just happened upon my page and have not seen any of my videos, please take the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. I have a lot of Vedic literatures and scriptures that we've worked through and continually working through. The Srimad Bhagavatam is a very large scripture, so we have a long ways to go with that. But we are working through this. We are working through the Bhagavad Gita, and we will continue to, as long as I'm in this body, to have classes on these wonderful scriptures. So please accept my respects, everyone. Let me take the opportunity to praise and glorify my spiritual master, Jagat Guru, Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Srila Prabhupada, and I pray for his mercy upon me to properly and adequately transmit this information that he has transmitted to me. I'd also like to offer my respectful obeisances unto Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, my spiritual grandfather, who is the translator and person who has given many wonderful purports in both the in a lot of scriptures. Actually, we offer our obeisances to Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, without which we would not have had come into contact with this information of Bhakti Yoga. And I'd also like to take the opportunity. It's a very auspicious week. We actually have had Ekadasi. We've had the appearance of Lord Varaha. Yesterday was the wonderful appearance of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. And Sunday, of course, is Narottam Das Thakur's appearance day. So many great saints, great spiritual masters, and the personality of Godhead, Lord Nityananda. And so we're going to do a class on the Srimad Bhagavatam. We've read through the first chapter of Canto 1. And so let's chant, as Krishna wants us to chant his holy names. So Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Dada Dada Vasadiko Bhaktivinoda Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Haribo Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Krishna. Okay, so last time we had read through chapter 1. So we are going to, this first verse has a lot of Sanskrit. So I apologize. I am not a Sanskrit scholar, so if you are a Sanskrit scholar and I am mispronouncing words, I apologize. But I am doing my best to transmit what my spiritual master has said and to me. So here we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Vadyaditarascha Tveshabhijana Svarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adiya Kave Muyati Yad Suraya Tejavrari Mirdam Yato Vinamayo Yatra Trisagom Risham Damasvena Sada Nirlashta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dimahi. Om, O my Lord, Nama, offering my obeisances, Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudevaya, unto Vasudev, the son of Vasudev, or Lord Sri Krishna, the primeval Lord. Janma Adi, creation, sustenance, and destruction. Ashya, of the manifested universes. Yataha, from whom. Anvayat, directly. Itarataha, indirectly. Cha, and. Arteshu, proposes. Proposes. Abhijanaha, fully cognizant. Svarat, fully independent. Tene, imparted. Brahma, the Vedic knowledge. Luddha, consciousness of heart. Yaha, one who. Adi Kavaya, unto the original created being. Muyanti are illusioned. Yat, about whom. Shurayaha, great sages and demigods. Tejaha, fire. Vrari, water. Mridam, earth. Yata, as much as. Vinemayaha, action and reaction. Yatra, whereupon. Trishaga, three modes of creation, creative facilities. Amrisha, almost factual. Damna, along with all transcendental paraphernalia. Svena, self-sufficiently. Sada, always. Nirashta, negation by absence. Kulakam, illusion. Satyam, truth. Param, absolute. Dhimani, mahi, I do meditate upon. There we go. Translation. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge into the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages of the demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental mode, which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Whew. So one thing I can say about this is my godbrother, my dear friend and godbrother and Shiksha Guru, Jivan Krishna Das, he said that one could just give classes on this verse alone because it's just so much. It encompasses everything. I mean, you could read the first verse and that basically summarizes, the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and encompasses the whole pastimes of Krishna in the spiritual world and all the devotees and Krishna. So I don't try to summarize or what's the word? I guess try to completely explain this verse. I think it's worth meditating upon and contemplating and listening to the Lord in your heart and to your spiritual master in regards to what this verse means. But I'm going to read. I'm not going to try to really break down anything, but I'm just going to read from Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, because for me personally, I feel like I have everything to learn from this verse. I really, I have no real knowledge into this or entrance into this without the mercy of my spiritual master upon me. So, purport by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and I read from this. I hope I can be pleasing to my spiritual master, because I know that my spiritual master is loves his spiritual master dearly, and so if I can share the words of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to please my spiritual master, I hope I can do that. Purport. Obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Vasudeva directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, who is the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. So when we refer to Vasudeva and Vasudeva, Vasudeva is the name of the father of Sri Krishna, or at least the acting father, Devaki and Vasudeva, who were imprisoned in the story of, in the Krishna book, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. They switched the children of the daughter and Krishna into Yasoda and Nandana in Goloka Vrindavan. But Vasudeva is also a name of Krishna. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. So Vasudeva is the name of Krishna. Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of Krishna, and as we will see, this Srimad Bhagavatam is a conversation. It's shown by Vyasadeva's spiritual master Narada Muni to Vyasadeva, as we will. I'm not going to get too much into what happens in this conversation or how it comes about, because it will be addressed in this Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Vyasadeva, so here Srila Vyasadeva is saying this. Srila Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha. So one of the 6 Goswamis are the primary disciples of Lord Chaitanya, were instructed by Sri Chaitanya to, of course, write about the science of Krishna consciousness. And Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject matter of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Rama Samhita. In the Samaveda Upanishad, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in this prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to this absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means the all-attractive. In the Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna and also by great sages Narada, Vyasadeva, and many others. So one really important point is that the Srimad Bhagavatam, as explained by Srila Vyasadeva, indicates from the first verse why it's very most important, is that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from which all energies and incarnations and partial incarnations emanate and come from. So when you have impersonalists or monists who deny the personality of Godhead, that what they do is they will indicate that Vyasadeva was mistaken, and that this was not, but actually the Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, which were also compiled by Srila Vyasadeva. So to state that the literary incarnation of Krishna is mistaken in his commentary upon the same Vedanta Sutras, which are really emanations from him, are non-different than him. And if you understand the conclusions of the Vedanta Sutras, as Lord Chaitanya points out to you, the different impersonalists that he has come in contact with in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the Vedanta Sutra also indicates that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is a person. So In the Padma Purana, it is stated that out of the new innumerable names of the Lord, the name Krishna is the principal one. So there are plenty of places in the scriptures which point to this. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portions of the personality of God and in all the different forms of the Lord being identical with Vasudeva as indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced orders of life. So these are the supreme. Hamsa is a word that means swan, and the swans are known to be able to, what they do is they can get the water, I think, out of the lotus stem. They can extract the purity from a bunch of impurity. They can abstract the purity or the essence of the lotus stem, I believe is what it was. And a Paramahamsa is a person, a spiritual master, a pure devotee of Krishna who can extract the essence and the meaning, which is basically listed here as being Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of God, and all the things that are listed in this translation, which we will go over a little bit more. My own spiritual master's name is Jagadguru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Srila Prabhupada. So he is one of these perfected ones in the renounced order of life who can abstract the essence of the Vedas, indicating that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that if you surrender your life to Krishna, you will have achieved the perfection of spiritual life. Vasudeva, or Lord Sri Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as a spotless Purana. So it's also indicated as not only Srimad Bhagavatam, but Bhagavat Purana. It is a spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So there are Puranas. Puranas are histories, right? And they have indirect references to the Supreme Personality of Godhead or their devotees or whatnot. But this is a spotless Purana because of its subject matter is pure, because it is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spotless one. The history of the Srimad Bhagavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradaji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras, or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. So the Mahabharata, of course, is the epic that is the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is part of. It is the history of the Pandava brothers, and Krishna is, of course, in that as well. It is the greatest epic. It's something like 18,000 shlokas or verses. Pretty amazing. I recommend reading it. I believe that there's a translation of Krishna Dharma, who is a disciple of Bhaktivedanta Swami. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada invited him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. So Srila Vyasadeva had compiled, he was there to compile and write down all of these things that had previously, in previous yugas, been done orally, but he understood that that in Kali Yuga, our memories are not very good at all. We're stupid and we're lazy and we're prone to fighting and argumentative discourse. And so to be able to try to remember things that we had remembered previously very quickly, it would be difficult or not impossible to do. So he wrote down these things: the Mahabharata, the Puranas, the four Vedas, the different Vedanta sutras. And he wasn't really, he couldn't understand why he was not feeling satisfied, like he was missing something. And his spiritual master Naradaji explained to him that that all these things that he's written down basically point to Sri Krishna, and he's failed to write about the pastimes of Krishna, and so he should do that. And that was the missing link. So that was an instruction given to him by his spiritual master. It's very similar, for example, we're given instructions by our spiritual master to chant japa or to chant Krishna's names. We're given instructions to help us bring us closer to Krishna. A very prominent instruction, of course, was Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada following his instruction of Bhaktisiddhanta to bring Krishna consciousness to the Western world. So here, Sri Naradaji, who is in our disciplic lineage, gave this instruction to Srila Vyasadeva, a very glorious and wonderful instruction, and we're grateful for that. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories. So even more so, it's been instructed that in approaching scripture in the same way that you approach like a degree, we would consider the Bhagavad Gita to be an undergraduate. So you read the Bhagavad Gita under the direction of the spiritual master, you understand that, then you go to your master's degree with the Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the PhD or doctorate of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But in this particular discourse, we don't jump around. I mean, we can read the purports, but ideally it is best to start from the first canto and work your way through, the 10 cantos, culminating in the pastimes of Sri Krishna. So this is what Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is bringing up here. It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. So yeah, this is the speculation of philosophers. They tend to want to understand the nature of the absolute truth, right? So, even though if they're not saying it that way, that's really what they're spinning around in their brain. Well, it could be this, could be that. This is the ascending method. But the philosophical mind wants to know where did this all come from? Where does all this matter, and what's the purpose of all this matter, and why is it, and where did it come from? At night he sees the stars in the sky, and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. And so, since time immemorial, people have looked. They don't have a spiritual process of the Vedic principles. They look to the skies. They incorporate their stories to connect to what they're experiencing. This is natural. We have this tendency because as humans, we have the tendency to eat, sleep, mate, and defend like animals. But we also have the other propensity to inquire philosophically. That's because we have a more developed brain than other animals, and we're in the form of human existence to come to the point of going back to Krishna, to understanding why we're in this condition and how do we get out of it. If we do not use this precious human form of life for that propensity and just eat, sleep, mate, and defend just for the sake of eat, sleep, mate, and defend, just to try to find some kind of happiness in that, it's in vain. It's a wasted opportunity that we waste. Such inquiries are natural for a man because man has developed consciousness, right? Even more than our brain, we have a more developed consciousness, which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that the Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time, and then it is annihilated by his will. So by his energies, he's able to maintain everything. And it is said in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita that we've been reading about that he is responsible for these things, but yet he's aloof from it. So by his energies, he is able to do all these things, but he's not present. He's also present within his devotees in the spiritual world. So it is the incomprehensible manifestation of his opulences. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord, is maintained for some time, and then it is annihilated by his will. Therefore, the supreme will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Yeah, it's just a poor fund of knowledge. It's really almost laughable because even by scientific inquiry and mathematical probability, to try to